my name is Austin, and welcome to your virtual tour of Belmont University's campus. Thanks for joining us. This place where we are here is called the Cathedral Plaza. These three buildings were built back in the 50s to represent our motto, which is head, heart, and hand. The building that I'm sitting next to was originally the library, which represents the head part of the motto. And we have the cathedral, which represents the heart part of the motto. And then we also have the what used to be the science building, representing the hands part of the motto. We have about 1,300 students at JBU. Around 1,000 of those live on campus. And in a classroom, you're only going to have 40 maximum, but 20 is about the average class size. We have a 14 to 1 student to faculty ratio, which means that you're going to get to know your professors, they're going to get to know you, and being able to build that individual relationship with them is something that's really, really important to us. We want to challenge you academically at JBU, and we feel like that kind of context really allows us to do so. The heart part of the motto means that we honestly and authentically want to integrate our faith into what we're doing. We're not just a Christian school because we have chapel services or because you take Bible classes, but our values as what we believe, as who Christ is and what that means for our life, infiltrates everything that we do at JBU. That infiltrates into the way that we organize our chapel services, into the way that we organize our practices for our sports teams, the way that we conduct our classrooms, the way that we operate in the dorms. All of that reflects who Christ is, and that's our part at JBU. So we really want to authentically incorporate our faith into everything that we do here at JBU. The hands part of the motto means that we want to give you lots and lots of hands-on experience. So whatever you choose to study, we have over 45 majors here. Whatever you choose to do, you're going to have lots of hands-on experience. If you're an education major, you're going to be in a classroom within the first 3 weeks of your time at JBU. If you're an engineering major, you're going to be working on really cool lab places in our buildings. You're going to be out on job sites as a construction management major. If you're a business major, you're going to be working with actual clients during your time as an undergrad. So whatever it is, we want to give you the hands-on experience to make sure that you are equipped and prepared. And we surveyed all of our students who graduated in December of 18 and May of 19. We found out that over 96% of them were actually employed full-time or in graduate school within 6 months of graduating from JBU. And about 2/3 of those were actually in a field that was directly related to their major. So the head, heart, and hand motto here is something that we feel confident is equipping students to be able to not only just graduate, but also to be able to acquire a job quickly and start making a difference for Christ using the skills and abilities that He's given them professionally. We're going to go check out the cathedral next, so follow me over this way. So welcome to the Cathedral of the Ozarks. This is where we have our chapel services. The chapel meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:30 in the morning till about 11:15. And then on Sunday evenings, we have an all-student-led service at 9 o'clock called The Gathering. So in any given semester, there's over 50 opportunities for chapel, close to 60. And we require students to go to 21 of their own choosing. It's pretty easy to get all those in. There's 16 weeks in a semester, so it's a little bit more than once a week. On Tuesdays, we hear from a staff or faculty member, and then Thursdays, we bring in outside speakers. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the Sunday evenings is all student-led. Typically, you hear from a senior talk about their life and maybe their testimony, or maybe they want to dive into a passage of scripture. At any rate, it's really awesome to hear from our peers. There's little boxes by the doors to the cathedral all around, and you just scan your ID on that as you come in and as you go out, and then online on your student account called EagleNet, you can see how many chapels you've been to, how many you still need to go to, stuff like that, just to keep up with it all. So JBU is an interdenominational Christian school, and we've been so since we were founded back in the fall of 1919, so just over 100 years ago. We celebrated our centennial last year, which is very exciting for us. But we are an interdenominational Christian school, and we've been that way from the start. And so at JBU, we have people who come from lots of different backgrounds, and we like to focus on the core truths of the gospel that can unite us, while also being able to discuss the differences. And we feel like at JBU, being able to learn from people who are different from you is something that's really valuable and important. I graduated from JBU in 2014, and I feel like during my time here, being able to learn alongside people who are different from me and who had the same goals in mind, but maybe grew up in a different context, was something that was really enriching to my entire experience and something that I really found valuable during my time. So we like to say that JBU is a safe place to ask dangerous questions. Ages 18 to 22 is a vulnerable season of life. You're going to be asking a lot of big questions naturally, and so we want to encourage that while also pointing you back to truth and to Scripture and helping you learn more about who God is, how He's revealed Himself to you, and also what that means for you and your calling on your life personally, spiritually, and vocationally as well. So when you come into chapel, you can sit wherever you want to, and we have these beautiful pews here that are actually built by students in the original days of the university. And I just loved coming to chapel as a student. I think the services were really well done. All the people that were brought in from outside just were engaging and relevant, and we ask everyone who comes to speak in chapel to have whatever they're going to be saying first grounded in Scripture, rooted in Scripture. That's something that's really important to us. We have these beautiful stained glass windows that wrap around the building here. So on each of the windows, there's a little blue section down at the bottom, and there's a red section up at the top. The blue section has pictures that tell the story of the university, and then the red sections have pictures that show the story of the life of Christ, starting down there and wrapping all the way around. This building seats about 1,200 people, so we can almost fit our entire student body in here. We also have some other fun events in here. In addition to just chapel, we have a candlelight Christmas service, which has been going on for over 70 years, with the music department puts on a beautiful ceremony every Christmas. It's a 3-night event. It's usually packed out with people from the community. It's free for people to come to. We also have a fun tradition called mock rock, which is a lip syncing competition. That's held in here as well. We have a talent show every spring during our family weekend, and just lots of other fun events that take place in here. This is one of the larger gathering spots on campus, so it's used for a lot. So that's all we've got for this space here. We're gonna go keep on moving out through the doors we came in. So where we are here, if you were to look at the cathedral from up above, it actually looks like a big T, and the back end of the cathedral has 3 different floors of classrooms. So we're on the 2nd floor right here. Below us is a whole floor where a lot of the music department classes are. So you've got practice rooms in there, music theory labs, private studios with our professors, conducting classrooms, stuff like that. That's all downstairs. And then right here is where the English department is. So English and language studies. We have a Spanish major here. Spanish majors are required to spend a semester abroad in Spain or Costa Rica. Within English, we have a literature emphasis. We also have a creative writing emphasis. Really, really cool programs there. Lots of study abroad opportunities within that. Students, this isn't just limited to English, but while I'm talking about it, I'll mention it. Their students have an opportunity to study abroad in Oxford or in England for a semester or 2, if that's something that they're interested in. The floor above us is where political science and history and then some philosophy classes are as well. There's professor offices on all 3 of these floors. Once again, we want to make the professors available to students, so having their offices right next to where they're teaching from is an excellent way to do that. Let's keep moving. So this building is called the Learning Resource Center. Students call it the LRC, and there's lots of things that go on in here. The hallway that we're in right here has the Student Support Services office. So they offer academic assistance to students who have any sort of needs academically. Whether or not they have a documented disability, they're there to help out. And so they can offer tutoring and class tutoring and just all sorts of help as they're preparing for tests. That's also a place where students can work as a tutor. That's not classified as a work-study job. In this hallway is where classes in the family and human services and nursing and psychology are. There's lots of different ones. That's all under the umbrella of the College of Education and Human Services. So oftentimes students feel like they want to do something professionally where they are helping others. We call them people helping professions, and so they might say, I want to be a nurse. And so they go into this department and they realize that's actually not exactly what I want to do. They realize maybe I want to be a teacher, still helping people, but in a little bit different context. And having all of those majors be under the same umbrella helps us really just serve the students well throughout that whole period. Education classes are one of the main classes that are in this space, and we have elementary education K through 6. We have secondary education where you can focus in on English, you can focus in on math,
history, or music. One of the things that I love about the education department is that we actually get students in the classrooms pretty much in their first month that they're at JBU. We feel like it's really important for you to have the head knowledge that you need to in order to be a teacher, but also just have that experience. You don't learn classroom management by talking about it in the classroom, you can learn it by actually going out and doing it. So right away, having experience working with the students in local public schools is fantastic. Just to make sure that's indeed what you want to do, and if it's not, then you realize that sooner than later. So I think that works out really well. JBU also has a fantastic relationship with the school districts in the area, and so it's really easy for us to get you the experience that you need. You would actually spend the fall semester of your senior year doing student teaching, so you're actually in one school district with one grade level for about the first half of the semester, so 8 weeks, and you spend the other half of the semester at a different school in a different district with a different grade for the other 8 weeks. So you have a varying amount of experience in the schools as well, so that can be really helpful. These offices right here are where professors are. We mentioned earlier that it's just super important for you to be able to develop relationships with the professors. And so if they were, in a completely different building from where their classes are being taught, it might be difficult for students to go and find them. We want you to be able to know who they are, know where their office is, and be able to go ask them questions and feel like you can do so. So having classes with your professors right here and then their offices being right here just makes them super accessible for you to get to know them. You can continue conversations that you may have started in the classroom afterwards. I think it just works out really well. So that's what you have right here. We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna go see the library next. So this is our library. This is open until 2 a.m. every night before a school day. So if you're a late night, kind of night owl studying person, you can have a space to do that here. There's 2 floors. Upstairs is where most of the books are. We have around 90,000 physical copies of books here and a similar number of books available online. Downstairs, there's a lot of different study stations and just lots of different stations for help and support. So we have a practice presentation room here. We have a writing center. Typically an upperclassman English major will review your paper with you before you turn it in. That's really helpful. And then we also have the IT help desk in here for all the technological issues that you may experience. They can help you out with that. There's campus-wide free Wi-Fi, of course, for students, and then a printing lab in pretty much every building across campus. Every student gets a $5 printing balance every semester just by being a student here, 10 cents a page to print. And you can print wirelessly from your laptop to the printers in the lobby of your dorm, so that works out pretty conveniently for you. Back upstairs is where there's a lot of different individual study rooms and some group study rooms as well. In the group study rooms, you'll find a typical kind of conference room style setup, and then they'll have a big TV on the wall, and then you'll also have a strip on the table where you can plug your computers in. It's really just helpful if you're working on a group project, or maybe you're studying with some friends for a test. You can plug in you can broadcast your PowerPoint for the study guide or something onto the TV just to work through it together, so that's helpful. I mentioned earlier that that library stays open until 2 a.m. every night before a school day. We have 4 librarians on staff here. They are excellent in helping you find what you need. There's so much material, so just helping you wade through all of that is really helpful. I know when I was a student, I felt a little intimidated by libraries, and I'd come in here and I'd just be like, hey, look, here's my research paper. I will gladly follow you to whatever papers you think I should read, and they were so willing to help, and I really appreciated that. So one of them stays until 10 p.m. every night, and then we have the students who operate the library. Students who work here will operate the library until 2 a.m. as well. This is a location where students work. Work Study is a great program that enables students to work 7.5 hours a week on campus and earn up to $2,000 throughout the entire school year through Work Study. Work Study is something that you do have to qualify for, so filing the FAFSA is going to be really important if you're interested in doing Work Study. I think that's about everything that I wanted to cover here. This is an excellent space, great space to get some good work in. It's one of the few places on campus where you can expect to have some quiet, which is really helpful. So that's about it.
So here we are in the communications department. This is one of the rooms in the department. We've got several different majors. We have public relations, media communication, media production, and digital journalism here. So in this space is where students write our student-run newspaper called the Threefold Advocate. It's won the best student newspaper in the state of Arkansas several times, and it's released weekly. We just find that some of the best ways for students to learn this concept is to actually apply it and do it in a real life kind of context. So this is what that space is used for. There's also a TV studio that we have in a separate area of this building for some more kind of hands-on application work. Getting to work alongside professors who are accomplished within their field and have a great deal of experience is really beneficial for our students. And it's similar to what you find in other departments, being able to develop the one-on-one relationships with the professors and a mentor-like relationship is really important, really valuable to the students' overall success as well. So let's keep moving. So this is our cafeteria. It's called the Kresge Dining Hall. There's lots of great stations in here. So as a student, you'll have a meal plan, and when you're a freshman, you're required to live in a dorm on campus. We'll talk more about those later, but when you live in a dorm, you are going to have a meal plan, and that consists of a certain number of meals per week here in the cafeteria. And then you can also have a declining balance in the smaller cafe that's located in the student center, which is actually just across the way in front of me here. And so you'll have two different places where you can eat on campus. The cafeteria here is open for specific meal times and generally closed in between, unless you choose to purchase what's called an all-access pass that allows you to come in between those meal times and have a few like cold stack stations available that you can just make use of. So when you walk in here, you swipe your ID right behind me, and then you can eat however much of whatever you want. It's kind of dangerous and awesome all at the same time. So right here, we have a great salad bar. They always have a couple different mixed green options. They homemade salad dressings here, lots of great toppings and stuff. We also have lots of veggies, and then the homemade hummus and soups and stuff that you can have as well. Oftentimes they have food out and for breakfast in the morning. Back over this direction is the taqueria. So there's tacos and taco salads and burritos and all sorts of stuff that you can get there. There's also desserts over there. They've got a lot of different varieties of desserts they put out. They're awesome. Right over here we have the deli, so sandwiches, wraps, and paninis and stuff. And then they have what's called an alternation station, where every week there's a different theme, and then each day within that week there's a different meal items within that theme. Lots of really great options there as well. We also have Warm Cookie Wednesday. That's a student favorite. So on Wednesdays we have fresh cookies right out of the oven, hence their title, Warm Cookie Wednesday, and students love that, so that's a lot of fun. There's all sorts of drinks over there. There's over this direction is where we have a couple of the hot lines. So there's home-style cooking section, there's pizza, there's what's called the zone, which is where you can always find like gluten-free, dairy-free, or vegan options. There's an all-American grill here, and they have like hamburgers and hot dogs and all sorts of cool stuff in there. And then there's the fresh line where they cook stuff in front of you. You can tell them what they want, and then they'll assemble it and put it together for you. If you have an allergy, our staff does a great job working with students who have specific dietary restrictions or needs. Everything is always labeled. All the major allergens are noted in what are in the different foods here, so you can always know what you're getting into before you bite into something. We have students who have specific needs, and our staff here works really hard to meet those specifically. So they will work with you. Now let's say that you have kind of a busy schedule, which is common for college students, and you can't come in and sit down and have like an actual lunch that you sit down to eat. You can just actually sign up for a sack lunch before. You can say, this is my name, my ID number, the things that I want. You schedule a time. You just come in, you swipe your card, and you grab it and go. The meals that you have are use them or lose them kind of thing. So you don't want to not be able to eat a meal here that you've already paid for just because you're scheduled. So that's really, really convenient. That's awesome. That works out really well. Behind the drinks over here is a little conveyor belt. You just place your dishes on there. It goes into the kitchen, and they clean them for you. You don't have to cook. You don't have to meal prep. You don't have to clean your dishes. It's a pretty sweet deal here. I graduated from JBU 6 years ago, and I still eat here. I think they do a great job with the food. It's excellent, and they locally source produce whenever they're able. And so you've got a lot of fresh produce here, which is fantastic. And then JBU is actually a zero landfill campus, and so we compost a lot of the food waste, which is something that I really appreciate as well. You can find lots of information about the cafeteria, the different meal plans, and the pricing options available online, so be sure to check that out. Thanks. The building that we're in here is called the Barry Performing Arts Center. Students just call it the BPAC for short, that's its acronym. So this is where we have all of our major productions, and then we have student recitals in here as well. So we have a new student only play every fall. That's a great way to connect with other people when you're new to JBU as a freshman or a transfer student. Getting to be a part of that show and being a lead in your first semester here can be fun. We also have a musical or opera every fall as well. We have a live orchestra that plays in the orchestra pit with them, so that's fantastic. We also have an all grade level play in the spring, auditions for that are in the fall, and then we also have in a different auditorium space some smaller productions and kind of one act and scenes and stuff that students do as well. So lots of performance opportunity. We have a theater minor at JBU, and anyone's welcome to be a part of those productions. So my major when I was at JBU was exercise studies, and I did a worship arts minor, but I participated in lots of the music here, and I was in the show, the musical rather, one of the semesters as well, and that, even though that was my major, it was something that I was totally able to do. So our choirs perform on this stage as well. We have the Cathedral choir, which is both men and women. That's an audition choir, and there are some small scholarship opportunities to be a part of that. It's a fantastic opportunity. I got to participate in that all 4 years that I was here, and it was just a lot of fun. So I performed on the stage many times. The Cathedral Choir goes on tour typically over every spring break, and then every 3 years they do an international tour, which is really fantastic. I got to go spend 2.5 weeks in Northern Ireland touring and singing in beautiful cathedrals and churches and schools and stuff right after I graduated from here. It was so much fun. So that's a Cathedral choir. They perform in here. We also have a women's chorus and a men's chorus as well, and so they'll perform in this space also. On this side of the building, there's a choir rehearsal hall, and there's actually a recording studio connected to that. So we offer audio tech classes. If students are interested in that industry, they can learn more about it there. So that's where the choirs will practice. And then if you look around me here, one of the things that I love about this space is that when they built it, they hired what's called an acoustician, and that's someone who designs the acoustics in spaces. And so all the different structures that you see on the walls, on the sides, and behind me are all related to the acoustics. And the sound quality in here is fantastic. It sounds so good. You hardly need a microphone at all. And the way that it's designed is that if you sit right down here, if you're sitting way up there, it's all gonna sound the same. So we also bring in a lot of outside music artists who perform in here. So you'll get to hear from all sorts of people all over the world, and the university subsidizes the cost for those tickets for students. And so I remember being a student here and getting to see this world-class violinist that I paid like $10 to go see. And there's a chamber orchestra from Russia that came here, and a men's quartet from New York City. We've had people from Broadway. So cool to be able to provide our students with those opportunities to see these amazing musicians in such an intimate context. Also, a lot of times those people will come in and they'll do like a master class or a workshop or a Q&A with some of our music students beforehand. So just increased opportunity to get to interact with them, which is really, really cool. There's a couple different ensembles here that perform on this stage as well. There's a rehearsal hall on this side of the building. And so the jazz band, the pep band, the instrumental ensemble, those all will rehearse there, and then they perform on this stage as well. The seat's just under 500 people. It was opened in 2010, so it's about a decade old. It's been a fantastic space for us to use. And whether or not you're interested in music, there's still, or performance, there's lots of opportunities for you to be involved here. We use students in every aspect of performance, so if you want to be backstage, helping manage the stage and the sets and all that, you can do that as well. If you want to help us build the sets, you can do that. Help with costumes. Our students run all the sound and the video and all of that. And then we have an excellent dressing room, really cool space, and we have students who help us with the costumes and the hair and the makeup and all that. So there's lots of opportunities to be involved in what's going on here, even if you're not interested in music or performance or something like that. Regardless of what your interests are, every student will probably spend some time in this building because sometimes we have some small chapel services in here. The premiering or the original showings of all the digital cinema senior films are in here as well, so that's another opportunity that you might be in here. There's just a lot of things that go on in this space, so it's really been just great for us to have, and it has worked out really well. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to share about this building, so let's keep moving.
This is the Balzar Technology Center, and this is a 40,000 square foot space that's just for the 3 majors that you see right here. So engineering is the second largest major at JBU. It's one of a few full-on engineering programs that you'll find at a Christian university. You get to do all 4 years of the program right here. We are ABET accredited, which is fantastic. We have 2 emphases. You can do mechanical or electrical engineering, and we also have some minors in renewable energy and civil engineering as well. The construction management is also offered in this building. Really cool program. There's not a whole lot of Christian schools who have that as well, which is really exciting. And then we also just added a computer science major, which is something that we're really excited about. I mentioned earlier that we really value hands-on experience, and so there's a lot of project workspace in this building that we're going to go check out. So you can follow me this way. So this space in the Balzar Technology Center is called the Construction High Bay. It's such an amazing spot for students to get a lot of hands-on experience. Construction management is such a cool major which combines aspects of architecture, construction, and business. So as a senior, you actually will have like a capstone project where you are managing an entire construction project. And the freshmen get to help with the labor aspect of that. And so freshman year is one of the few times that you'll actually be like swinging a hammer, being on a job site, doing the labor, because you do a lot of work on the whole management aspect of everything, learning about building codes and zoning and projects and stuff like that. So there's lots of opportunity for the hands-on experience though, and you get to do a lot of that in here. Over this direction is a simulated rooftop. We get to learn different aspects of construction site safety here. A lot of schools will just teach you that by showing you a video of construction site safety. We think it's important for you to experience what it feels like when you fall off a roof and you're caught in a harness. So we have that here. You can see behind me one of our students is building a tiny house. There's just lots of really cool stuff that goes on in this space for students to practice their actual practical skills and then be able to move them out onto a job site afterwards and being able to oversee things really well. I think that JBU has done a great job of just building a space that is conducive to helping the students learn. Upstairs is a classroom where a lot of the classes are taught out of, and the ceiling of the classroom was left unfinished, so that as they're talking about electrical wiring and all sorts of stuff, they can say, look up, this is how it's done right here. And so the actual space where you're learning, it just provides this vibrant learning opportunity and experience, which is really fantastic. So anyway, I think that's all we want to share here. We're going to go see some more project workspaces a little bit more specific to our engineering students. The space that we're in here is called a thermal fluids lab. Hands-on experience is something that's super important to us. So right here we have a wind tunnel. This allows you to study airflow over various objects. And so in here they've got this little model plane, and it's actually hooked up to a computer so they can study the airflow over all the different parts of the plane. You can stick different objects in there as well. We've got a fully functioning jet engine over here and all sorts of other equipment just to make sure that students have opportunity to kind of get their hands dirty, so to speak. And we think that that hands-on experience is just really valuable for you as you're preparing to jump out into a job once you're done. All right, so we're over here kind of on the edge of campus. Behind me is the Engineering and Art Project Barn. This was built and opened for the 2018-2019 school year, so it's relatively new. It's 60% of the space is dedicated just to art, and then the rest, 40%, is dedicated just to engineering. The hands-on experience is so valuable. We were running out of space in the buildings we had beforehand just for these majors, so we added this to allow students to get their hands on equipment, get their hands on materials, and get that hands-on experience that we value so much. So we're going to go inside and we're going to take a look. So straight ahead here is the entrance to the art side. So we're going to head in here first. Use your ID to enter in. We've got a studio in through the doors right there, classroom that students can work in, and then what you see here is just a lot of project workspace, so making that available to students is important. This is open later into the evening, so you can just have a lot of time to work on the projects. Lots of different mediums in here. There's lots of different objects that students use to actually draw in the classrooms. We'll head over this direction.
With the addition of this building, we were able to add a ceramics area. So we have classes that are taught in here. We have a class one night a week that's taught in the evening. So we have 5 wheels in here, so students are actually able to throw, make some really, really cool stuff. So this is something that I always wanted to do when I was in college, and when I was a student here, we didn't have that yet. And so I got to take one of these classes. It looks like too much fun to miss out on. This has been a great addition. We're going to head on over here, see a little bit more of this space. Before we built this building, our seniors, whenever they were working on their senior projects, particularly for like art and illustration, they would have to set up everything in our older buildings and then tear it down every single time that they wanted to work on a project. And so this space that you see here, there's lots of different little nooks, and as a senior, you'll have one that's just for you during your time here as a senior. And so you can kind of leave everything set up and come and go as you need to, so it just maximizes your time. It makes it really just kind of streamlined and efficient. And it's kind of cool because you get to like move in, and this kind of becomes your space, like your little haven, a little creative space for you throughout the time that you're here as a senior. So this building is also just really beautiful. They've got these huge windows in the back. The woods are right behind us here. So in a couple weeks here, you'll see some spring flowers out there. In the fall, you've got this whole palette of beautiful fall colors and stuff. I just love this building. It feels really bright and creative. So we're gonna go see the photography studio next. This is what's called a cyclorama wall that you see here. So neat. And this is how you get those photos where there's like no shadows at all. The lighting's perfect, and there's kind of just this white abyss behind you. And so there's lots of different types of photography classes that students can do within the art department. And so you'll have a lot of different ones that take place in here, but you can do a lot of professional photography in here. This space is also open for people outside of JBU that's rented out. And so some artists have said this is the best art facility or photography studio of its kind in between Dallas and Kansas City. It's a really great space for students to use. It's awesome that as a student, this is a space that you have access to. So in the art department, we have majors in art and illustration, photography, graphic design, digital cinema, and we just added visual effects. So right over here, we just put up a green screen. So that's going to be a part of that program, something that we're really excited about. That's going to be a great addition as well. They've got a big TV over here, and they have chairs that they bring in. They have a little class session right here, and then you get to learn concepts and then go and apply it right away. So we don't want to just sit in a classroom all day and talk about concepts. We want to actually go out and experience it, and having this space has been enabling us to do that really well. There's a storage area in here, and there's a little makeup booth in there as well, so the models can get their stuff ready, get their makeup on, and be ready to go, and then have the shoots right in here. There's a door that has curtains draped over it over that direction, but it's actually large enough to open up and have a car drive in through it. You could do a photo shoot with a car in here if you wanted to. So they try to just make it versatile for lots of different things. Okay, in a minute we're going to go and we're going to see the other side of the building, which is specifically for the engineering project workspace. So this is a space where students get to work on lots of different projects. So this is open until midnight every day, and students can come in here, and there's lots of individual stations that they can kind of move into, similarly to what we just saw on the art side of this building. There's lots of different award-winning student projects in here, like you see over this direction. There are remote control airplanes in the back that students have built on a larger scale. Students have also recently worked on the construction or the building of a robot that's designed to be able to go to the surface of Mars and collect soil samples as well. So this is just a great space for students to work on different projects, kind of exercise some creativity and apply what they're learning in the classrooms. So there you have it. This is the Engineering and Art Project Work Barn. So we just came from the project barn right over there, and now we're in an outdoor classroom which is used for our outdoor leadership ministry major. Super cool program. Getting to learn how to use the wilderness and God's creation for experiential learning and being able to impact people for Christ in that context, which is so awesome. So students actually get to have their classrooms in here when it's a beautiful day out like it is today. You'll see hammocks set up in here for class, which is so cool. And the woods right behind us, there's actually several different campsites where they get to learn and practice their outdoor living skills. And then over this direction, you can see our soccer field is down there, the tennis courts, the rugby pitch, the soccer practice fields, and all sorts of stuff over there. And then further over around campus is actually where our intramural fields are. There's lots of intramural sports that you can be a part of. Fun way to be involved athletically, but not as competitively as a varsity team. Outdoor Leadership Ministry is such a great program, really, really neat. I encourage you to check more information out online. So this is the health education building, and this is where our nursing program is ran out of. Since we started nursing as a full-on major in 2016, the fall of 2016, it has quickly become our largest major. So the health education building is entirely for nursing, and this building opened in the fall of 2016, so it's still relatively new. It's a beautiful space in here. It's bright and new and just feels really creative and just an awesome environment. So in the nursing program, you are going to start taking classes specific to the nursing program during the first 2 years that you're here. We find that a lot of students who are interested in nursing think that it may be something they want to do, but then it ends up that they get in the program, they realize, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And so we really want you to be able to transfer into a different major if you need to. And so we try to arrange the schedule of the classes that first year so that if you end up changing your major, you're still going to be on track to graduate in a total of 4 years. I mentioned earlier that hands-on experience is super important to us. So we have some simulation labs in this building where you actually get to work with simulations that simulate lifelike experiences. So we have these mannequins that will have seizures, they have heart attacks, they have all this crazy stuff. And we have all the equipment like what you would find in a hospital room. So you'll also spend over 800 hours in clinicals in hospitals in the area before you graduate. But the opportunity to have some of the experience and this kind of setting before you graduate is really cool. So all of the equipment in here is pretty much exactly what you'll find in a hospital. We partner with 3 different hospital groups in the area, so that is a total of up to 7 different actual hospital facilities that you could be doing those hours in. And there's partnerships for scholarship opportunities and stuff afterwards as well. We're gonna keep going and see a little bit rest of the building. So we found out recently that about 96% of our students who take the NCLEX, which is a test you need to take to become a professional nurse, 96% of the students pass that test their first time. And we feel like the program, what we have here, the incorporation of the head, heart, and hand motto, is just really preparing the students well for that. So over here, we've got a little area where there's some group study works, some group study space for students. If you're working on a group project, there's some desks connected to a big screen TV that you can have your project up on display there and work together. There's some more simulation labs over this direction that I want to show you. And we want you to be prepared and equipped to work with little kiddos all the way up to older people as a nurse. And so some of the simulation labs here are more geriatrics, more pediatrics. We actually have a mannequin that gives birth to a baby mannequin. So if you want to work in labor and delivery like what you see here, that's a possibility as well. Our hope is just to make this space be very much an entire simulation so that your time in the hospital is not the first time actually being in this kind of environment. So this kind of facility allows that to be the case. All the equipment is exactly like what you would find in a hospital. So there's a second floor here. Upstairs, there's some more of the lecture halls, and also as a Christian university, equipping students to go out into the professional world as nurses, we know that there are some ethical concepts and issues that they're going to be faced with working in the health profession. And so we want to equip our students to be able to dive right into those conversations and to know how to talk about those. And in order to do that, we want to have some of our classes be a little bit more discussion based. So some of the classrooms upstairs actually have round tables just to facilitate that all the more in the classroom. We feel like that's important to us. So this is such a great program. Thanks for following along. Let's keep moving. This building that we're in here is called the Bell Science Hall. The majors that are operated out of this building would be biology, biochemistry, chemistry, mathematics. And then we also have a physics minor that you can do here. So typically science classes are a 4 credit hour class. Most college classes are 3 credit hour, but 4 credits for the science courses because they have that additional credit hour of the lab that's added onto them. So classes will meet
3 times a week for 50 minutes typically, and then they'll have a lab that will meet once a week or so for 2 to 3 hours at a time. Sometimes we'll have some science classes that are lectured 2 times a week and a lab twice a week as well. It just kind of varies per class. So we're on the first floor here. This is where all of the labs are, and then upstairs is where all of the lecture halls are as well. When I was choosing a college, I knew that I wanted to be a science major. And it was really important to me that I was able to go to a school that really was able to go alongside with my values. I love studying science because I really enjoy getting to learn more about who God is through how He's revealed Himself in nature. And although that's the heart of what we try to do in every major here at JBU, I feel like the sciences have a unique opportunity to do so. And so I remember a lot of professors here just did a fantastic job integrating our faith into the classroom. When I took physiology here, the first day of class, the professor started by reading Psalm 139, which talks about the fact that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God is intimately acquainted with all of our ways. And how cool for that to be the first thing that we acknowledge as we're jumping into studying all these complex physiological pathways and learning about all these little teeny details about how God has hardwired us as human beings. I thought that was so awesome, and I just loved being able to learn and grow in that kind of environment where the professors were going to encourage me in that direction. We also want to equip our students who are in the science department to be able to talk with people about what they believe and how that intersects with what they're studying academically, what they hope to do professionally. And we want to be able to have those students be able to talk about those things with people who believe something different from them as well. So you're going to take some classes that are going to talk about those kind of issues that you might experience working in a health field or in the science field or anything related to that. That's something that's important to us. We have an excellent pre-med track that you can do within a major of your choice here at JBU. And if you're thinking about going on to medical school or any sort of professional health school, we have a pre-health professions program, which you can be a part of your sophomore through your senior year. That's something that you have to interview to be a part of. And it's an organization where you would meet with faculty every so often throughout the school year, and they just kind of make sure that you provide with the support you need to enter into the programs that you're considering. So they might help you by doing a mock interview with you. They might help you get your resume all together. They might help you with the applications or knowing how to study for the MCAT or getting resources together for you for that, making sure your GPA is where it needs to be. All the details that go into preparing for that, they are there to help you with. And 80 to 90% of our students who apply to a professional health school will get accepted into a school first time. So we feel confident that the skills that you're gaining here, the knowledge that you're gaining here is going to equip you well to jump right into that. JBU is one of 2 schools in the state of Arkansas that has a human cadaver dissection lab. So it's a pretty radical experience. But if you're thinking about going on to medical school, that's such great exposure for you because oftentimes undergraduate students don't get to do any cadaver dissection. So that's something that you'd get to do entirely here as a student, which is great exposure. Directly in front of me, there's 2 areas where there's professor offices. Once again, we just want the professor's offices to be really accessible to the students so you can go in and get to know them. Right down the hallway where you're looking right now is where my organic chemistry professor's office was, and so many times I would go in there and he had a whiteboard in his office. We would work through the problems together. He knew my name. He would sit down with me, and I just got a sense that he really cared about me as an individual. And if he had not been so willing to help me, I did not think I would have passed that organic chemistry class, but I'm so thankful that he was as willing as he was to help me. So we're going to go check out a little bit more of this building. So this is the chemistry lab that we're in here. I mentioned earlier this bottom floor has all of the different lab spaces. So typically you're paired with a lab partner, and you will have the first half an hour or so of the lab spent with a little bit of a lecture by the professor, and then you'll spend the rest of the time conducting experiments on your own as the professor is there available to help you. In most cases, all of the labs are taught by the same professor that you have in the lecture as well. It's not always the case at different universities, so it's nice to have that consistency from the classroom into the lab as well, just so you have increased familiarity with the professor. Looks a little different today as we don't have students on campus right now, but you're required to wear long pants and closed-toed shoes when you come to a lab as you're working with different chemicals and stuff, and so that's important just to keep everybody safe here. This is the Walton Lifetime Health Complex. This building was built back in the 80s and they just did a total renovation of it in 2016. It's a great facility that's available for students to use. It's open from 5 a.m. until midnight every day, and it's free for students to use. There's intramural courts in here. There's a track that's indoors in there. So if it's nasty outside, you can go for a run or walk in that space. There's also a lap that goes all the way around campus, like a trail through the woods next to a creek. It's really, really pretty. It's about 2 miles. It's a great place to go for a walk or a bike ride outside. All sorts of great equipment over here. There's a smaller workout facility back over that direction as well. Lots of free weights and stuff that you'll see over in this direction. This is also a connection point for the community, so people who live in the area can get a gym membership here just as you would any other gym. So those people from outside of the context of JBU here, which I think is excellent, really, really great partnership with the community and JBU here. In a minute, we're going to go see the major arena, which is built as an addition to this back in 2010. But one of the things that's also incorporated with this facility is our outdoor adventure center. We have kayaks and canoes and mountain bikes and camping gear and all sorts of stuff that students can use in the area. Northwest Arkansas is such a great place to live if you're interested in those types of things. So we want to make sure that all of the great outdoors is accessible to students and that they have the equipment that they need to be able to go out and enjoy it. We also have an indoor pool in this space. Although JBU doesn't have a swimming or dive team, we have the pool from when we used to have a swimming team, and it's just a great space to go swimming. There are swim lessons you can take there, and also it's a big draw for the community as well to be able to go swimming year round. We're going to keep moving. So this is the Bill George Arena, and this is where the men and women's basketball games are, and the women's volleyball games as well. JBU competes within the NAIA conference, we're Division I, and so we have men and women's basketball, cross country, tennis, track and field, soccer, and we also have a women's volleyball team and a junior women's varsity team as well, a junior varsity women's volleyball team. That's new here. Also, the track and field team is new, which is really exciting for us. We also have some club teams. We have men and women's rugby, men and women's ultimate frisbee, and we have a men's volleyball team as well. And then I mentioned earlier, but we've got lots of intramural sports, which is a really fun way just to be involved athletically if you played a sport in high school or you just want to have some fun. This space seats over 2,000 people. Great spot to enjoy the basketball games. It's been here for about 10 years. One of the fun traditions that we have at JBU is called our toilet paper game. The first men's home basketball game of every season. Everyone who comes brings a roll of toilet paper, and after we score our first basket, everybody throws them down on the court. And this place is crazy. It is absolutely packed out with people, and it's like a sea of toilet paper. It's nuts. It was started as a tradition over 30 years ago, and it just has kind of continued. It's kind of become a big deal. It's been on ESPN several times. Charmin sponsored it. It's really goofy. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's just one of my favorite traditions here at JBU. This space is also used for any large-scale event. So we've brought in some outside music artists who have performed on a stage that we set up in here. And then also at the end of every school year, this is where we have graduation. So this is where I ended my time at JBU, walking across the stage, set up right behind me. Such a special and fun day. We're going to keep moving. We're going to go see a dorm building next. So this is a room in Hutchison Residence Hall. We have 4 different dorms on campus. We have Hutchison, which hosts both men and women on separate floors. Walker, which hosts both men and women on separate floors. And then Mayfield, which is an all-women's dorm. And J. Alvin, which is an all-men's dorm. So Walker is for sophomores and older, but the rest of the dorms are for all grade levels. As a freshman, you're required to live in a dorm, and you're expected to live on campus your first 3 years that you're here. We have dorms, but we also have on-campus duplexes and on-campus apartments. Seniors are allowed to live off campus. But there's no reason that they can't still live on campus if they'd like to. So all the dorms cost the same amount, and there's a little bit different in formats between the different dorms. And we have more video tours of the dorms on our website as well, which you're welcome to check out. But once you become an applicant to the university, you can put down a housing deposit, which secures your place in line to choose which dorm you want to live in. It also acts as reserving your place in line to choose which classes you want to take here. But that deposit is really important because it does secure your place in line for the dorms, And then also, it's completely refundable through May 1st. But when you fill out the deposit, you fill out a form that we would use to pair you with a roommate. That's a pretty individualized process to pair you with a roommate. If you know someone who's coming to JBU and you guys want to be roommates, you can just request each other as well. So that's kind of how that works. So this room in Hutchison here, pretty good sized room. Every student has a closet. They're built in this building. Every student has a desk and a set of shelves, a bed, and then there's some drawers in the closet as well. In this setup, you've got a sink right here in the room, and then the bathroom goes through to another room. So you would share the bathroom with your roommate and the two people on the other side of the suite. So that's kind of how this setup works. Each of the dorms is a little bit different format, so you can kind of pick and choose which is going to be best for you and then request it. Hutchison has a few different formats throughout the building as well. So we're actually going to go right down the hall and we're going to go see what we refer to as an end suite, which is just a little bit different from what you see here. So we're at the end of a hall here. And so when you walk into this space, there's kind of just this little living room lobby area, and then you've got 4 rooms off of here, and then there's a door to a restroom right there. And so that's obviously a little bit larger because you've got 8 people who are sharing it. And when you live in the smaller suite style, you're responsible for cleaning that bathroom, whereas in this kind of setup, it's going to be cleaned for you. All of the dorms are open for students to come in and out of 24/7 for the students who live in that building. So there's not a curfew, there's not a check-in or check-out or anything. But after midnight, only the residents of that dorm's IDs will let them in the building. That just ensures safety for students here. Guys and girls aren't allowed in each other's rooms except for specific times during the week. That's called open dorms, so you'll always know when that is. In the dorms, we have lots of different lobby spaces. There's some kitchens, there's laundry facilities, there's computer labs. Laundry is not an included cost. It's $2.50 to wash and dry a load, and you use your debit card for that. It's pretty simple. Residence life, living in the dorms, is such an important part of the overall college experience, and we work really hard to make sure that it is a positive experience for everyone. I know that it really enriched my time at JBU, and just having that community is so valuable to just increasing your experience, enhancing the experience, and also helping students succeed. We want you to be connected. We want you to have a place where you belong here on campus, and the community that's built within the dorms often serves that purpose really well. So let's keep moving. This is the Walker Student Center, and this is just kind of like the general central hub of campus. Lots of things that happen in here. It's open 24/7 for students to hang out in. There's a smaller cafe over that direction, and around the corner behind them, there's our career development office. Career services, they do a great job working with students, making sure that they're able to find jobs, have their interview skills all polished and ready to go, get a resume together, all that kind of stuff. They even help students who are in the early stages of trying to figure out what their major is, and interest inventories and assessments and things like that. So they provide a lot of great help and support for students. Our campus nurse is in here. You can make an appointment with her online on your student account if you feel sick or need some help there. There's also upstairs where all the Bible classes are. Lots and lots of great programs there. We have intercultural studies, Christian ministries information, biblical and theological studies. The outdoor leadership ministries major is up there as well. Lots of different things take place up there. Every student here takes Old and New Testament survey, evangelical theology, and then a capstone class senior year or sometime in the upperclassmen years. So that's where those will be. The bookstore is right over here. Mailroom is back there. And then if you look all around this building, you'll see lots of different flags. These represent the different countries that students are from who've studied here in the past or currently and have brought us a flag from the country. Somewhere between 10 and 15% of our students come from overseas, so you'll get to meet lots of people from all over the world. Among our 1,300 students, we represent over 40 states and over 50 countries. So lots of different types of people here at JBU, which is something that I absolutely love about our community. At JBU, there's lots of opportunities to study abroad as well. Right down the hall behind me is our International Programs Office. So they work with all the students who are wanting to study abroad here, and they also work with our international students here. JBU has a mansion that we leased in Belfast, Northern Ireland. You can spend a semester there in the spring or fall for the same cost as spending a semester here. It's such an excellent experience. There's lots of opportunity to study abroad in different countries all over the world as well during your time here. So making use of just engaging in the international culture here is something that we really encourage students to do, and also taking up the opportunity to go and travel overseas is really awesome as well. Well, we are almost done. We got one more stop, and so let's go head on over to the Soderquist Business Center. So here we are in the Soderquist Business Center. This is where all of our business majors are. So there are 7 different majors here. We have international business, management, marketing, accounting, finance, and entrepreneurship and innovation. And so all of those 7 are designed specifically to prepare students in those specific career fields and interests. Now, sometimes students come into JBU or they start college in general knowing that they want to do something in business, but they're not exactly sure. Well, the first and second year are generally similar in terms of the course loads that the students will take. And then what makes it specific to the majors is more so packed into the the third and fourth year. So it allows students the opportunity in those first few years to just kind of like figure out what they want to do. If they don't know specifically what they want to do, but they know something business, they're not going to be behind if in sometime their sophomore year they finally declare their major. That's totally normal and that's okay. Being able to use those lower classmen years just to explore majors, talk with professors, talk with upperclassmen, all of that, that's really awesome for them to be able to do that. Our business students will work with 6 to 8 actual clients before they graduate. So not just in the classroom talking about concepts, but actually working with clients, learning how these concepts work out in the real world. We feel like that's really important. All of our students do some form of internship before they graduate. And also, in terms of being interested in business, Northwest Arkansas is such a great place to be because of the kind of economic status here in North Arkansas and all the businesses that are here. Walmart's home office is in Bentonville, about 45 minutes from our campus, and they require any of their vendors to have an office in Northwest Arkansas. So you've got close to 300 of the Fortune 500 companies represented here in Northwest Arkansas. So if you want to do job shadowing, internships, all sorts of stuff, there's lots of opportunity for that here. Many of our students have actually done an internship program with the Walmart home office over in Bentonville as well. Some of our students have continued on to go work for them in the home office. So lots of opportunities. You'll see lots of trophies behind me. Students have the opportunity to compete in different competitions with the business models that they've created in classrooms, and so they're having practice presenting these in front of professionals as well. This building is also a great space for me to show you a couple of different classroom formats that we have at JBU. So there's 3 different formats I'm going to show you. Some of our other buildings also have classrooms where there's individual desks that are on wheels. That's really great in like science classes or education classes where you're having a lot of discussion, a lot of interactive work when you're practicing concepts that you are learning and applying them in the classroom. You can kind of wheel on over into pods and get in some group workspace. So let me show you into a classroom here. This is a basic kind of just lecture hall classroom space that you can see. So I mentioned earlier, 40 is the max number of students you'll have in a classroom. 20 is average though, so you're not going to fit any more than 40 in here. Your professor will be up here in this kind of space. You can't just come in the back and sit down and fall asleep. You're got to be engaged. It's a more small, intimate environment, which I just feel like really helps facilitate learning. But we're going to go check out one more type of format. Some of our classrooms have a computer lab kind of set up, and so they might be working on learning how to use different software or whatever, and so just having this kind of format here is really helpful for the students so they can actually be working on a computer, applying the concepts, whether it's a stats class or spreadsheets or whatever. Being able to have this space is just more conducive to what the students are learning. One more kind of setup right over here, more traditional lecture hall kind of format. In this space here, you'll see what we're talking about. Once again, 40 students max, and that'll fit well in here. Business students do a lot of presenting. So in this kind of space, you can have a group project up at the front of the stage, presenting their work. You're going to have a lot of opportunity to be practicing being in front of people, presenting your ideas, communicating your thoughts and stuff in front of others. So this is kind of one of the other formats that you'll typically see. Business is such a great program. There's lots of opportunity to explore the options here online, so make sure to do so. Hey, thanks so much for joining along with our tour. This is where we're gonna wrap things up. Appreciate you following along. Be sure to get in touch with your admissions counselor if you do have questions. We would love to help you. Hope you have a great rest of your college search and know that we are here to serve you. Please let us know how we can do so. Take care.